Hey, welcome to Luke's Dev Lab. Great to have you here. My name's Luke, and in this video we're going to be looking at Ornith 1.5 35B. So it's good to be running a model again that we can run at a decent speed on our peasant GPUs. So the specific model we're going to be running is Ornith 1.5 35B A3B GGUF from Ornith themselves. So we'll be going with the Q4 on this because it's going to fit definitely not entirely on our GPU, but it's going to give us still decent performance because it's a mixture of experts model. So they got some Trust Me Bro benchmarks over here. I noticed Muse Glimmer is in the mix, which I think is probably the best model out of all the ones here, although Gemma 4 31B, believe it or not, I still haven't tried it. But if I'm comparing Muse Glimmer to this model, let's see, it's looking on SWE bench, it's supposed to be better than Muse Glimmer. So I don't know, sounds promising, let's see. So we got the full test suite for you, so we're going to do the pre-fill and the decode speed in performance. We're going to test the memory where we fill up the context, see if it can find data throughout. We're going to do agency, which is our quick initial test of the model's tool calling capabilities. We'll then move on to OpenAI HumanEval for 164 Python challenges. Then we'll do Kanban, which is a good front-end web development test. We'll then move on to SAM Physics and Dungeon Crawler, which will test the model's ability at algorithms and mathematics. And then finally, we'll move on to our MCP challenges with Blender and Godot, where we'll have the model create a couple of assets in Blender and then a simple 3D platforming game in Godot. And then a quick overview of the system specs for performance-related benchmarks. I have an RTX 2000 Ada, 16 gigs of RAM, and this has about 225 to 250 gigabytes a second of memory bandwidth, and then 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, which I will need to overflow into because 35B is obviously too big for 16 gigs of VRAM. But because it's MOE, it's not going to slow us down too much. And then if you want to find my model configs for Llama CPP, they're linked down below in the description. Alright, so let's jump into our benchmarks. So we're going to start with the performance. So again, this is on my RTX 2000 Ada, which is a workstation GPU. If you're using a gaming GPU with 16 gigs of VRAM, it's probably going to be faster than this. So we'll start with our pre-fill. So we've got our cached versus uncached speeds here. So the pre-fill is the speed at which the model is going to ingest tokens, such as your prompt or a code base. So on a very short pre-fill, I'm getting about 130 uncached, 5,000 cached. Coming up to a long pre-fill, we're seeing 145 non-cached and 200,000 tokens a second cached. And then coming down to our decode, so this is going to be the speed at which the model generates tokens. So I'm getting a nice 36 tokens a second, whether it be a short or a long decode on this. So it's good to be back in double digits. Moving on over to our memory benchmark now. So this is where we fill up the context of the model and we insert a piece of data either at 0, 25, 50, 75 or 100% depth. We ask it to find that data. We do it 3 times over for each depth. Gives us a total of 15 runs. So what this is showing us with the 87% pass rate is for some reason the model falls down 2 out of 3 times at 25% depth when it's trying to find that data. So if we come down to our outputs here, you can see when it fails, it's just, there's nothing there. So it's just failed to find it completely. And it's just outputting the context that it's searching within. And also I would note that these outputs are not super clean either. You can see like here, for example, we've managed to grab the key out and it's still being padded around here as well. It's like padded around its thinking. So yeah, it's not super clean on the memory here, but it's done okay. It's just a bit strange that it's fallen down twice here and not at any other points. So we'll see if this affects the model's performance. Moving on to our agency benchmark. So this is a quick initial test of the model's tool calling capabilities where we put it in a fake company sandbox, give it a bunch of tools, and then run it through a bunch of scenarios. So there will be at the GitHub link in the description, you can find an overview to read more about this. But just a quick look. So 47 out of 49 is very good. It's about in line for models in this weight class, and it's done pretty well across the board. It's a good result from the model on tool calling here. But we'll definitely get into some more advanced tool calling in our MCP challenges later. So let's move on from this. And then for our last benchmark, this is the OpenAI HumanEval, which is 164 handwritten Python challenges. Now again, I will be retiring this soon because this is probably in the training data for models. But for now, I'm still using it, and this will be linked down below if you want to read up on it and run it for yourself. So looking at the results, we're back to sort of what I would expect with models on this, where they do fail to answer a reasonable chunk of the questions. So what this is telling us here, if we evaluate it on the whole 164 questions, it's got a 71% pass rate. But if we evaluate it only on the questions that it managed to answer, it's actually got a 96% pass rate. So that is pretty good. And then it's got a 74% answer rate, meaning it's not answered 42 of our questions. And this usually happens because the model just overthinks. So I do have this set up. The model will get 8,000 tokens per question. They're very short questions. And when it gets to 4,000 tokens used, a prompt is injected to let the model know. But obviously it doesn't always work. So let's move on to some coding now. So we're going to start with our Kanban test here. This is a good test of the model's ability for front-end web development. It looks like we got 22% context used, but we did not. We actually compacted on this. When the model generated a response, there was an error, and this back and forth happened where there's an error, it coded again, a new error, coded again. And this back and forth happened 6 times with this model to get to the result. So the back and forths weren't too bad. We actually got to our context used at about 50%, but then in the end, the only thing that I couldn't do was I was unable to move columns. And when I prompted the model that I couldn't move the columns, it burnt all the way from 50% up to 100, compacted, and then that's where you see all the way up to 22% just to get these columns moving. But the columns, they do move, awkwardly. There we go. So yeah, the UI is not very intuitive though when you're moving the columns around. But the cards, they do move, they do work too. Also, again, the UI, there's no state to show where it's going to go like we saw in the previous Qwen 3.8 videos. But everything's functional. I've tested everything. You can archive, restore, rename a column. Everything does work. So it's not too bad of a result here. And if not for not being able to move the columns, the finished result was achieved quite quickly at half the context used. And again, because it's an MOE model, it's quite fast. So it gets to a decent result in a decent speed. But to take it over the line, it took a lot more. So moving on to our sand physics now. So it did take us quite a lot of prompts to get here, but we still only ended up on 33% of our token used. So we got to a result at 10% of our tokens used, but then the result was you could place the material, but you couldn't see it visibly. So you'd have this particle count down here at the bottom of the canvas. It would go up, but you wouldn't see anything placed, and had to go back and forth with the model 5 times to get it right. It would be placing them offset or not at all, or it would be duplicate what you were placing, or it was stretched and garbled. So it did take quite a few prompts to get there on this, but still 33% to get a result, which is not too bad. So it's smooth, it's got a good frame rate, the particles behave as we would expect them to. So it's actually not too bad of a result in the end, and you can even pause it. So this was something we only started to see with the new Qwen 3.8 models, having us able to pause the simulation. I never saw it before the Qwen 3.8 models. And now, interestingly, this Ornith model has it. But you can see the glitch there with the water as it goes above the particles that are coming down. So you can see this is not perfect for sure, the way the acid is behaving as well. It's not perfect, but 6 prompts in, 5 or 6 prompts in, it's done okay on this one. So onto our dungeon crawler prompt now, which is a good test of the model's ability to use algorithms. So this one was really surprising. So I prompted it, and at just 9.6% of context use, it delivered a result, and the only thing that was missing was the fog of war. I asked it to do the fog of war. It came back very fast, totaling 10.4% of our context used. And here it is. It works. And the raycasting is actually very good. The fog of war works. There's a dungeon, although I'd call it maybe more like a cave, maybe, but it's subjective, I think. But yeah, this one really surprised me. It got to an end result extremely fast on this test, and I can't really find any issues with it. I mean, you can't see the walls, but I mean, you can't see through walls anyway, so yeah, I think the model was really good on this test, really quickly getting to a good result. So this one surprised me for sure. So moving on to the MCP portion of the video now, so we start to ramp up the difficulty a bit, and this is where we really see the model's tool calling and thinking capabilities. So we're starting with Blender, and as you can see, session compacted 3 times on this one, so yeah, it took us a while. So what I observed with the model on this test was it would do something, and then it would revert back to the default cube scene again. And once we got to our first 100% context use and it compacted, I reviewed in Blender, default cube still. But when I checked in on it before, it had something it was working on. So we burned 100% of our context, 130,000 tokens, for it to do something, only to undo it again, which was quite frustrating. Then it reached 100% context used again. I checked, and it was coming along quite nicely, and then it just burnt another 100% context, and it didn't seem to be making too many changes at this point. So at that point I stopped it and I said, okay, just take some screenshots of what you've done and we can call it a day. And then the model was struggling to do screenshots. Oh, and by the way, this model also creates tests in temp at the root of my computer. But what I noticed when it was trying to take screenshots was there wasn't even a camera in the scene in Blender, so it's not going to be able to do it. So at that point, I just said, you know, don't worry. At this point, it's compacted 3 times. For the sake of time, I just wanted to be done with this one. So if we look in Blender at what it's actually done, it's not too bad for the gate, but the marble is pretty terrible. So I don't know how you can get away with calling that a marble. It's also missed here. It's funny that it's struggled on the marble, yet we have this gate that actually looks pretty decent, I would say. These are not aligned, so obviously this one, we've got some Z or Z fighting on this. But other than that, I think the gate is really good. It's done a decent job, but yeah, it's burnt so many tokens to get to this result. So it's done a decent job. It's not too bad. Now let's see how it does in a game engine. Okay, final test now, Godot, which is our game engine. So on this one, you can see compacted 2 times, and we were actually going for our 3rd compaction here. So again, these real challenging tasks are going to burn a lot of tokens, to be expected. So with this one, it got to 100% context used, and it actually was looking like it was making pretty good progress. But then it got up to about 70% context use, and I noticed the model was struggling to recognize the state of the game. So it thought the player couldn't look around or move or anything. So I manually tested the game. I could look around, but I couldn't move or jump. So I just told the model what the state was, and it went back to work. And it reached the end of the context, compacted a second time, and then same thing, wasn't sure how the state was. So I checked in on the game, could move, could look, could do everything, but the player was like phasing in and out of the floor. So I told the model this, the player is too low in the floor, and I let it go to work on that. And then the model went through all the context on the third, after the second compaction, reached 100%, was going for its 3rd compaction, as you saw here, and it was still unsatisfied. So I had a look at the game, and I decided it's probably good enough for a review at this point, after our 3rd compaction is just happening. So if you go over into Godot, it looks like nothing's been done. I was like, oh, has this not been saved correctly or something? Because if you look over in the scene, there's just one thing. There's nothing to see here. I don't understand how Godot works, because if you press play, here we go. I can't release my mouse, so I don't know how to make this window bigger. Oh god, I've made it worse. No! Oh god, I've made it worse again. I'm going to have to zoom in and editing on this. I don't want to mess it up again. But as you can see, we're a bit bouncy for some reason. I don't know what's going on here. I can't sprint, but I can move around, I can look around, and I can jump. Interestingly, there's walls around the edge too. I don't think I've seen that before. But I can't collect orbs. And if I go over to the finish tile over here, if I bounce my way over, we don't trigger a finish state either. So this state of the game is pretty in line with basically every model or better up until Qwen 3.8. So every model that I tested before Qwen 3.8 would at best get to this state, and not always get to a state as good as this. So yeah, it's definitely pre-Qwen 3.8 level of being decent, but obviously Qwen 3.8 has set a new bar now, so yeah, it's okay. But it's a speedy model, but again, a lot of tokens are being burnt to get to this result. So that brings us to the end on this look at Ornith 1.5 35B. So I would say this model is okay. It's difficult. Now we've looked at Qwen 3.8 27B. You know, there's a new bar now with local models, for sure. But that's a dense model. It's extremely slow for a lot of us, including me if I run it on my RTX 2000. So it's definitely not a fair comparison. This model is obviously much faster, it's much more usable for most of us. So if we judge it in isolation, it's actually done not too bad. So the results that we were able to achieve with all of the tests were pretty decent. Everything got to a pretty good state, and I was pleased with everything it did. Apart from Blender, still needed a bit more work. But the problem is, to get to these results, you really need to burn a considerable amount of tokens. You know, we're looking at 250,000 plus, 300,000 plus tokens on these Blender and Godot tests. And obviously, you're going to end up compacting unless you can fit a huge context on your system. Then if you can fit a huge context on your system, maybe just run the dense model instead from Qwen. I don't know, but then maybe that's still too slow. So if we assess the model against everything else before Qwen 3.8, it's good, it's decent. You will just burn a lot of tokens. But then obviously, we can't ignore the elephant in the room that Qwen 3.8 is out. If you can run that model and you're able to accept the speeds that it runs at, you should still definitely choose that model. Now, obviously, if Qwen brings out 3.8 version of their 35B A3B, you know, that could really shake things up a bit. So I really hope they do release that. So what do you guys think of Ornith 1.5? Have you tried it yet? I'm keen to know how it is for you. So I want to say a big thank you to my supporters here on YouTube and on Patreon. You guys are amazing. And a big thanks to you for watching to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. So give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Bye.